now. I think it's recording. We'll see anyway. Right.
It is.
Elliot's obviously here again. Good morning. Well,
Hello.
good afternoon. And then obviously we've got Jonny and Morgan, who are both die-hard Tottenham fans. And Morgan's been doing football with me for a number of years now. I remember when he first came on the holiday camp, I had an email from Jonny having a go at me. And then after that, we became good friends. So, yeah, that got sorted. And Morgan also did my academy stuff. So he went to the King Power with me, which was a good day. I think we won it, didn't we, Morgan? Or come third or something?
You went halfway through.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Jamie walked out, didn't he?
Yeah, you did. Or you had to go to the older.
Oh, okay. So I was switching, wasn't I, across? And then I think when you won it, I came across to get the honours for it.
John. Yeah, you had your full kit on like Harry.
That was it. All right, so we're going to do the topic. Very simple.
There we go.
Of Jose Mourinho being Tottenham fans and me being a United fan. Just very simple. A, has he still got it? B, do you want him at Tottenham? And C, I think Poch should still be there, but that's another question. But I don't know who wants to go first. Really, I've got my rant about him, but I'll save that in a minute. But
to be honest with you, when he first come to the Premier League, I can't remember what year it was. Someone else might have to give me some stats on that. Jamie.
Yeah.
Like maybe 04, maybe 05. I think he won his first thing with Chelsea, maybe.
So when he first came to the Premier League, he was a breath of fresh air, wasn't he? He was new on the scene, and everyone. I loved his banter and his arrogance and etc. He started winning trophies, which was the main thing I think for Chelsea at the time.
Yeah.
But I think he's outdated, to be honest with you. The thing is, so many different fans will have different opinions on what they want at the club. For me, I prefer the fast attacking football. Win or lose is good to watch, and I think that's what you pay your money for, me personally. But now he's just dull. He's just dull.
I remember. Sorry, Morgan, carry on.
Space ball and football.
Yes. Yeah. Like I remember having a little conversation with you, Jonny, in a joke about when he got. Actually, no, sorry. I remember when Jose was at United, and every other week I'd get a message off you and other Tottenham fans laughing at me. And when he got appointed at Tottenham, I think I sent you a message with just laughing emojis, just the whole thing.
To be honest with you, I always back whoever's in charge at Tottenham. I always back them. You have to give them a chance. But I think Spurs were lost, or the team was lost way before he took over. I think at the end of the Champions League, I think papered over cracks in the Tottenham season. And getting to Champions League, everyone forgot about how bad we really were, to be honest with you. So I think Jose taking over, he hasn't been given a great I suppose, a great start with the team he's got. It was lost way before he took over. But I don't think he's going to help things there, to be honest with you. And I would have probably, at the time now, I would have probably kept Poch and he needed back in. I think that's where we draw the line at.
Yeah, I agree. What about you, Elliot? What's your view on Jose?
I fully agree that I think he came into a dressing room which was split in half in terms of maybe where people's head was at. I mean, Ericsson, Alderweireld, Vertonghen, all contracts running out. And literally every day on Sky Sports, you were hearing, they're going to run down their contracts. They're just playing because they can. And that Ericsson scenario, I think, got a little bit messy in terms of obviously eventually he's gone to Inter Milan. But I think you either do what you can to keep him and then you play him, or if he's not going to be part of the plans, then maybe don't include him at all and try and like properly get rid of him. I did love Ericsson, but again, I think he's one of those where he wasn't always at it, which I think maybe hindered, especially in the last season. The season where Leicester won a title, he was incredible. I thought, like, he was up there, obviously, with one of the better players. But I think the appointment of
That's quite funny,
Well-
though. He had a great season when Leicester win the title, but you finished third in a 2-horse race. Sorry.
Yeah,
Doubt it. Still finished above us,
Where
but
did-
still.
yeah, where were you that year? Like Europe, did you?
No, I think we won the FA Cup, though. We still won something. Anyway, carry on.
Oh, right. Mickey Mouse Trophy. Right. Yeah. I think that the appointment makes sense, right? Everyone says Spurs don't win things, so you bring in the manager who is known for winning things. So at first I was like, it makes sense, right? And he said that he's changed his ways. He's had all this time out of the game, so I was happy with the appointment to start with because I thought, right, Levy is showing what he wants. We're not just a team that's going to qualify for Champions League now. We want to push on and actually challenge as much as we can. But he is outdated. I completely agree with that. I think personally, if I'm not watching the game and I hear we win, I'm happy. If I watch the game,
You're asleep.
whatever the result is, I remember I went down the pub and I watched the City Spurs game in which we beat them 1-0 when Steven Bergwijn scored that absolute worldie of a volley on his debut. And literally, apart from that one moment when he scored, the whole game I was sat there not interested. It was like the most boring game of football I think I've ever watched. But so I think there's two parts of it on my behalf. If I'm watching it, I'm bored. But if we win and I'm not watching it, then I don't really bother. Win's a win at the end of the day.
What do you reckon, Morgan? What's your view on Jose?
He should get out.
What? Okay, moving on. Why, Morgan? What?
Personally,
No, thanks. Why?
he just plays boring games. There's nothing exciting about him.
So are you are you a Poch man, Morgan?
Actually push up and actually try and score something and get a good result in the end.
Pressing game.
See, I personally think when Poch got sacked, I think that Jose had lost the dressing room before he even walked into the dressing room, because I think the likes of Harry Kane, Dele Alli didn't want him to leave. And you also have to think as well that a lot of them, England boys, they all talk. A lot of the United boys probably talk to the Tottenham boys. You've got Rashford and Dele Alli probably talk to each other. I just think, like, and
Those goggles are back on.
No, taking away my Man United stance on it, I just think Poch should have been given to the end of the season, and then that's when the review should have happened.
It all started. If you remember when we got the new stadium and Poch went into it, he said that we need new. What did he say? You need new furniture in your new house.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he wasn't backed, was he?
No.
Do you know what I mean?
No.
There was nothing there for him. It had gone stale. He knew we needed something different, and he wasn't backed today. So Mourinho, who's been at the Man United's and Inter Milan's, Chelsea's, etc., who's been backed with money, do you know what I mean? He's not going to get it at Tottenham. It's not going to be open wallet and open purse. So I think he's going to struggle with what he's got.
Yeah, me too.
I completely agree with you. I think he'll be gone by mid next season, even if that. Because I didn't. Am I right in seeing that Poch said last night that he'd love to come back to Tottenham and win something?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. So the thing is with Jose, right? You know how you say Man United, Jay? You think it's the biggest club in the world. You can sign anyone you want.
Not if.
Right.
Were.
Were. That is a great word. Were. I think you give Mourinho, if Levy is true to his word and says he's going to back this manager, give him what he wants and kind of rebuild the squad and all that jazz, then I think Mourinho is a perfect person to be able to bring in who he wants. It's well known that Fergie had that kind of effect on people. If he wanted someone, he would do whatever he can to try and get him. And I think we're only maybe 4 or 5 first team or world-class signings away from being proper competitive.
Yeah, but here's the question to you then, and this is to all three of you as Tottenham fans, right? And this was a downfall at Jose in his last 18 months at United. So I'll give you an example. So Man United under Jose, we bought Lindelof. He didn't have a great first season, and we spent like nearly 40-50 million on him, I think. And Jose wanted more money to go and buy another centre-back. So it kind of came out and rumoured that the United board weren't too happy with his spending, and they didn't trust him to give him any more money. Because bearing in mind, he bought Pogba as well for huge money. Look how that turned out under Jose. Lindelof. I think there was another big name. I can't think. Would you, as Tottenham fans, trust Jose with a lot of money?
No.
Not after looking at your team.
Well,
Yeah, but
well,
I'm going to
there's your
say
answer then, surely.
not all of that comes down to Mourinho, in my opinion. Right? I think that obviously the price tag is one thing, right? Pogba should play up to a whatever 80, 90 million pound player. That's what you expect when you see the price tag. But a certain aspect of that has to come from the player itself. And I think I don't like the personality of Paul Pogba. Right? I don't think I would. If I was the manager, I don't think I'll get along with him very well. Right? But some of that has to be put onto the player. It can't all be put onto. Because, for example, Ndombele come in, right, who was Poch's signing in the summer, our record signing. He's come in and Mourinho straight away kind of slated him. And now all you read is, like, he's off to Barca. He's not happy and all that.
Doesn't he want to leave now? I thought I saw that this morning, that he wants to leave. And
he said that he's not happy.
Jose's picked a fight with him.
But, again, part of that comes down to, I mean, if you look at him, look at the way he moves around the pitch when he's not got the ball. Like, he is quite lazy, I think, personally. And he doesn't look like... If you Google or YouTube him and look at the best things he's done, we haven't seen any of that yet, I don't think. So I know he's probably got it in there somewhere, but he is part of it.
But is that Jose's coaching and man management?
At the end of the day...
I think... Go on.
Go on, you look at the coach. You look at a coach, right? And for me, doesn't matter what level you're at. If you buy a player with potential, who you coach into the player you want him to be, or you think he can be. Yeah, Mourinho. Most of Mourinho's signings have been finished articles, near enough, have they? Or are you going to correct me?
No, I agree with you because
Mourinho would buy the likes of, I don't know if he bought Dele Alli, etc., but he'll buy players. He will mould it into the team he wants.
Yeah,
agreed.
Yeah. So
I think
that's got to be Mourinho's coaching.
But then I agree with you, Johnny. I think as well as man management is so far behind the times now, it's unreal. I think the time where you can be harsh on a player is gone now. I think you can't take a player into a dressing room and give them an absolute roasting anymore, because I just don't think it works. Because they're pampered too much. But you know, like you, Morgan. Anyway, So Morgan, Johnny, if Jose was given 200 million, would you rather Jose have 200 million or Poch have 200 million?
By far. Jose will probably buy like a player that's like 28 years old, 29.
Finished article.
Yeah,
I think Mourinho is my answer.
Deary me.
I would. Can I just say something as well? If he's at Tottenham, it wouldn't ever happen.
It's true.
Dear.
The only reason I say Mourinho is because I think he knows what he's buying. That's my personal view on it. Obviously, every manager thinks that they know what they're going to turn a player into, but I think he knows. And I said he lures players to the club, the bigger names, right? At the moment, we're in a position where we're kind of maybe falling a bit behind. You know, even like Chelsea this season have been absolutely amazing, and they've spent no money because they weren't able to. But I think, do we want a long-term fix? Then you probably say Poch. But if you want a short-term fix, then I'd say Mourinho.
Do you know who I think?
That's my honest answer.
Do you know who I think Tottenham should have went and got after Poch? And I wish that United would have got him after Ferguson. Ancelotti. I think Ancelotti would have been suited to Tottenham to the ground.
I would have liked Simeone or Simeone, whatever his name is.
Well, if you want Diego, then you might as well keep Jose because of negative football.
Yeah, but I think he's got something different, isn't it? Something different. But then you said about man management and all that, Jay. I don't know. I'm guessing you have watched the Man City documentary.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. And there's parts of that where you see Guardiola literally pulls him into the fitting room, tells them all to shut up, and just like shouts him.
Yeah, but I think he's earned that from his team because he's already won a title there.
Yeah, but players should. I still think that I don't think there's many now, but I think there used to be, and I've heard it been said around on like podcasts and videos and all that stuff that players sometimes go onto the pitch and they know what they need to do, but they've been told what they wanted, but they just do what they think is best for the game. And I don't think there's many people like that anymore. And that's why maybe Mourinho kind of falls a little bit with the youth players, especially. They don't want to, do anything wrong. So I think if Harry Kane was fit, right, he goes on that pitch and he knows what he needs to do. Obviously, he's got part of Mourinho in his ear, but he knows he's at that point in his career where he can kind of do what he wants and tell people to do things.
I know
without kind of Mourinho. Do you know what I mean?
I know what Harry Kane's thinking when he's on the pitch. I'm off to United in the summer. That's what he's thinking.
No way. No way.
Newcastle United probably now.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. Honestly,
yeah.
I don't know. Like,
if Mourinho surely was told when he joined Spurs that he wasn't going to have hundreds of millions of pounds. When we finished third, fourth, etc., year after year, ahead of Man United, and we got to the Champions League final, then was the time, if Levy wanted to push on. We got a new stadium, etc. But then was the time to give him the money, refresh the squad, and push on what we got.
Yeah,
and that's if you wanted to win trophies. Why then bring Mourinho in, he's renowned for winning trophies, but not back him?
Yeah.
What's the point? I don't understand why you give Mourinho 200 million or 150 million and not Pochettino.
I agree with you, Johnny. And one thing I would ask you Tottenham fans is, if Poch had won the Champions League, do you think he would have left, or do you think he would have stayed?
If he'd have won it?
Yeah, if he'd have won it.
He would have won the league.
I don't know.
I think he would have left. We weren't doing well.
Yeah, I mean...
That's tricky. Because, obviously, if you win a Champions League, you become... Like, his CV gets better. So it might not have been a case of he wanted to leave. It might be a case of he gets lured to, Real Madrid or Barcelona or whatever.
All right. All right, I've got another scenario then. Obviously, Ollie's already beaten Jose this season. What happens if Ollie went on? what happens if Ollie went on a really bad run and he got sacked and Poch came to Old Trafford? Would you? would your view completely change of Poch at United, or if he came back to White Hart Lane, would you give him a standing ovation?
I'll back Poch always.
Yeah,
I don't think it was when he left. It wasn't like, he wasn't doing anything which the fans hated. Do you know? It was literally purely probably a result-based decision, which I think surprised him, obviously, because you see all the pictures of like the whiteboard where he's wrote that message to the players and all that. I don't think he was kind of maybe expecting it, but sometimes I guess you got to change it.
I actually feel really sorry for Poch because he's probably had other job offers from like Real Madrid and other places, and he's stuck with Spurs. And I completely agree with you, Johnny. I think after that final, he needed big money to get rid of the deadwood and kind of inject some more cash. But I just don't think Jose is the man for it. He's just so outdated. He picks fights with every player. He's just a dinosaur. He just
If you go back to when he first came to Spurs, he looked really fresh.
Yeah.
He looked like well up for it. He looked a different person. He was happy. He was like bantering with the media, etc. Mourinho. Yeah. And if you look at him now, he's gone back to baggy eyes and
completely.
Yeah, and he looks irritable, and I think it's taken its toll. I think he's realised.
Yeah. I've got a question. Do you think? Obviously, we got to the Champions League final last year. Do you think Levy maybe expected to actually win it, and therefore the pressure on Poch and the team was kind of higher than maybe what everyone else kind of viewed it as, and that's why maybe the collapse happened over the summer and coming back? Because I was obviously so happy we got there, but when obviously we lost the game, I think obviously the favourites were Liverpool. So if we would have won that, it would have been like we'll say it as a Leicester miracle, but it wasn't quite to that standard. But you know what I'm saying. Everyone would have been like how, especially the season Liverpool had as well. I think that perhaps Levy expected a bit too much just from that one game. He maybe expected that we could have won it, and therefore, because we didn't win it, obviously you get God knows how much millions and billions of money from winning the Champions League, and that's why everything kind of collapsed after that.
Yeah, true. The expectations were too high, I think, weren't they? I think he took us too far too quickly with limited cash.
But
All that stuff.
I completely agree with you, though, Johnny. I think when Jose first came to the Premier League, he was a breath of fresh air. He was chirpy. He was delightful. He was good. I as much as a United fan and a rival, I quite find him funny. But now he's just like miserable. He picks fights with players.
Yeah, but that's because he's managed your club and left you in a negative state as to why you think that.
No. He's done that to United.
If he'd won you 2 Premier League titles and an FA Cup, you can have your FA Cup if you wanted to, and then he left.
Then I might be a little bit. But
exactly.
But then every club he goes to, he leaves a stain.
But would you say that winning? I know he didn't win kind of to the extent he has at United as he did at Chelsea and everywhere else he's been. But would you say winning is worth that stain which is caused?
No.
Johnny, would you be happy with 2 Premier League titles in the next 4 years? I don't know, maybe a couple FA Cups as well. But then he leaves and maybe 2 players leave.
Yeah, I'd go for that. I'd take anything.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, of course you guys would, but let's be realistic. That's not going to happen under Jose. He's far too outdated. He's a dinosaur. His tactics are gone. Like, I'll give you an example, right? And for the 2.5 years I watched United under him, it was awful. It was terrible. Like I remember one game we played West Brom. We finished second under him that season, but only because City was so far in front. And we finished second, and it was West Brom at home, right? Bearing in mind they were in the bottom 3, and we played with a holding midfielder at home against West Brom, and we still lost the game. We lost 2-1, and it was awful. And that was when the crack started. Because doesn't he favour Eric Dyer now?
He was someone
back into the fold, yeah.
Yeah, he kind of disappeared after the Champions League. Like no one saw him. And in his first season, his first game, I think he scored 2 goals at Upton Park and won us the game 2-1 or 3-2, something like that. And in that season, he was unbelievable. That's when he got his England call up and all that. But I agree. I don't think it might be the right appointment just because of like his style of play and stuff. And I think fans will lose patience quicker with him than maybe Levy will, because if he's getting results, Levy's going to be happy. But obviously, if it's played in a certain way, I don't think the fans are going to like that.
Here's a question Here's a question for all 3 of you. Do you think Daniel Levy regrets bringing in Jose Mourinho?
Not yet. It's my answer. He's only been there how many games has he had? Like, I don't know.
What about you? What about you, Johnny? What about you, Morgan? Do you think he regrets it?
No, I don't think so, because he hasn't managed much games yet, has he? He's been doing mostly training.
And he hasn't had much. He hasn't got any transfer targets in, has he? To be honest,
yeah. One window.
I don't think you can judge it. I think if you look back when after the Champions League and the style of play we're playing under Pochettino after that, like I said, it papered over a lot of cracks. We were awful. The Champions League, the Man City game, the quarterfinals were one off, and the Ajax game. But in between that, I remember we were awful. Something had gone, something had lost. I don't know if it's down to the players or Pochettino or we did need to freshen up. So for Mourinho to come in and take over, we're doing exactly the same. Even though everyone says he's boring, for me personally, we're playing the same sort of football under Pochettino at the end of his time there. So at the moment, until the transfer window opens and he brings in maybe in the summer his own targets, then after August, if it starts again, etc., then I think it's to be judged after that. But then I think it's a bit harsh.
And remember, he's playing without a striker. Like, we have no backup striker. Like, it's not an excuse as to why we're not scoring all these goals, but we've got no striker.
And Sonny was out for a long time as well, and he's also had he's had problems with a tongue. with
Exactly.
Alderweireld, Danny Rose.
Exactly.
He's had so many problems and issues.
And
with
none of that's his fault, Jay. So, you know.
Well,
It's true.
Elliot, you'd have Mason Greenwood, but you don't think he's good enough to go to the Euros. So
He is not good enough to go to the Euros.
Who's
Those
that?
goggles, those goggles are getting bigger.
Mason Greenwood.
Mason Greenwood, he said, was good enough for the Euro squad next year.
Yes.
No, I watched it yesterday.
Well done, Morgan.
He is.
See,
Oh,
thanks,
dear.
Morgan.
Oh dear.
Like,
I
so
reckon.
good.
I reckon Tanganga would do a better job up front.
So Morgan, here's a question for you then. If Mason Greenwood was available on loan for a season, would you take him at Tottenham?
Definitely.
There you go.
Well,
There we go.
we got no backup striker. I'll take anyone.
Point proven. There we go. He's off to the Euros.
Actually, I'll take Lorente back. That's desperate.
Yeah,
man.
me too. Me too.
Oh
Me too.
dear. Oh dear. So like, I was going to say something. I completely forgot what I was going to say. So you reckon give Jose to the end of next season then?
I think you have to. I think it's too early.
Give him a chance.
It's too early to get rid of him now. It's like I said,
Agreed.
he needs to regroup. He needs his own signings to come in, and then you can judge someone on that. You can't judge him. Like I said, the dressing room was lost. He's had major issues in there with something's gone wrong. I mean, we can watch Amazon in the summer, can't we?
Yeah. Well, if you keep Jose,
Which would be so good.
If you keep Jose to the end of next season, we can all carry on laughing. So that'll be good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, just remember, Ollie's still got one over. The best picture is when Ollie put his hand on Jose's head at the end of the game. That's just.
I'm gonna throw this out there. I reckon Mourinho will last longer than Ollie.
Oh,
I'm being serious. 100%.
Do me a favour.
100%. Ollie is not a manager.
There's
I
a
remember seeing some pictures of Ollie at the wheel with his burning bus and that. I'm sure you've been up and down. I'll take Poch any day. I want Poch. I'll take Poch.
No,
Ollie's not quite.
No. I've always backed Ollie.
I'm pretty sure.
There's a difference here between. There's a difference between Ollie. There's a difference between Ollie and Jose. The fans love Ollie. Tottenham fans aren't sure about Jose. Oh.
Sorry, we've got an intruder.
Right. So do you wanna sum up then? If you want Jose at the wheel,
Success.
and why?
Do I want Jose at the wheel?
Yeah, and why?
Personally, I would keep him till the summer transfer's over and see where it goes from there. And then give him till Christmas if it all starts up, as in normal plan time in August.
What about you, Morgan? Do you want Jose or do you want him out?
I think we should let him have a chance for longer, and then if he's making us still play bad and boring, get him out and get Poch back, I guess.
You've changed your tune. You wanted to sack him at the start.
I need to give him a chance.
Oh, that's nice of you, Morgan.
Yeah.
What about you, Elliot? I can imagine you want him for the next 10 years, regardless.
I don't know. I think you bring him, you give him the time, as you say, give him the money to spend, bring in the players he wants. Give him, obviously, till like Christmas, see how it's going. But personally, I think if he's not bringing the success he personally knows he would have liked, I think he'll walk away before it's in terms of us sacking him.
Elliot, if it was up to you, mate, you'd be building that statue of Jose outside the ground.
If it was up to me, I'd be in charge.
Oh God. Anyway.
Oh, you should see me on Football Manager. I'm on fire.
Anyway, I've just had the 10-minute warning on the Zoom, so we've only got 7 minutes 10 before we get booted out. So I'll quickly do the last topic real quickly because it could be quite a quick one. So obviously cool. VAR.
Yeah.
So do you want it to stay? And we've only got about 5 minutes to answer this. Do you want it to stay? Why do you want it to stay, or why do you want it not to stay? Johnny, Morgan, I'll ask you first.
When it first came out, I was against it. I was, no way is that happening. It's going to ruin football. But after watching, especially the Champions League, the emotion, not just because we got through, but the emotion of up and down of being down when Sterling scored, and then it coming up with no goal. Lorente, they put it down, board it. No goal. I think it's up and down. I think they need to make decisions quicker.
Yeah.
And apart from that, I'm actually now for it. But they need to try and regulate the actual decisions, as in like little finger being offside, like Morgan said previously to me, is a bit OTT. They
Yeah,
need to refine actually offside rule.
I agree with you. I would keep it, but they need to let the referees go to the monitors and give them a 1 minute time limit.
100%. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think the only bad thing about Tottenham, what am I saying Tottenham? The only bad thing about VAR, the only problem with VAR I've had this season, it's let Liverpool off quite a bit this season. Therefore, that's why they're so far ahead. They've had all the VAR decisions.
He said the word Liverpool. He's gone like, oh, he's back.
Sorry, did you not hear that?
No, you're not.
No, I heard liver, and then he froze.
No, I was just going to say the only thing I don't like about VAR is that it's let Liverpool off with so many decisions this season. That's the problem. So that's why they're so far ahead. But anyway, your turn, Elliot.
Yeah. No, I was sceptical when it came in. I liked it in the World Cup, like the way they were using the monitor and stuff. Obviously, it worked really well. The amount of penalties there was ridiculous, but we haven't seen that kind of in the Prem this season at all. But I think keep it. But I think it's shown how maybe there's a few things in the rules which need to change in terms of like the handball rule, the offside rule. So I don't think that's the technology's fault. I think that's the ruling's fault. So I think now we've got the tech, you just maybe alter the rules a little bit to suit it a little bit better. But if you was asking me a day after that it's cost Spurs a win, I'd tell you to get rid of it. But if you'd asked me if it gave us a win, I'd tell you to keep it. But I think it stays. I think it's good. I think it's good.
I think VAR is good. It's just been a bit poor this season with its decisions regarding Liverpool.
Yeah, but I think they expected that. You know what I mean? Not in terms of Liverpool, just in terms of there's going to be, as they kept calling it, teething problems. There's going to be like things which come up, but if you don't try it, I guess you don't know. So
I think the anger is why isn't the referee going to the monitor, considering the rugby referees and all that do that?
Yeah, and in the World Cup, it was huge.
I think I see the referees in Australia's in actual football games. They actually have the mic in their ear and you can hear them talking to each other.
Oh, nice.
So the fans get to understand what's actually the referee's talking about and what decision they're making, why, etc. And then he makes a decision from that.
I think. Go on, sorry, Johnny.
That's right. Go on, Karen.
I was just about to say I completely agree with you on that point because I think that all Premier League referees should be mic'd up, so you can hear them. It should just be a simple case of like that, easy peasy. I've got a good question for Morgan because I can imagine Morgan plays a lot of FIFA. So Morgan, So Morgan, you obviously play a lot of FIFA. Here's a question for you: would you be happy if VAR was improved? Obviously, the FIFA game tries to improve every season. Would you be happy for FIFA to have VAR in it and take 3 minutes to make a decision to make it realistic?
No, because it's already on computer, so
it's already programmed.
Exactly. No, but if there was like if there was a sending off on FIFA, and you know sometimes it's like really minimal contact on FIFA, you get a red card or something.
You click and then you move all the way and do it backflip and stuff.
Could you not like press something on the button where you can test it and it goes to VAR or something?
It's already a video game, Jay. It's not real. If it's offside, it is literally like the tiniest bit. I reckon they've got a better VAR system than we actually do in real life.
Yeah, 100%.
Their offside calls are spot on.
But then here's the last point because we've only got like a minute left. But here's the last point: if you've got VAR in the Premier League, should it not be used in the whole professional game in England, like League One, League Two, the Championship?
It's just money, though, isn't it? I guess. I would imagine it comes down to.
Yeah.
I think eventually it should do. Yeah, I think it will eventually.
Yeah, I think eventually it will. 100%. I think eventually it will. But
then if you're using it in the professional game, why can't you use it on a Sunday league game?
Ah, blimey! How long? Can I use it in my back garden? Are we going to keep going? How long is this train going to go on for?
Finances.
Well,
yeah, exactly. I think it'll be in all the Sky Bet leagues probably within the next 4 or 5 years. I'm going to say because I think they're going to use it in the Prem to make sure that it's all like faultless. I'm not saying that League 2 is like needs the faultless system, but I think they'd rather send it out to everyone when it's like all properly working rather than.
Probably comes down to finances in the Premier League as well.
Yeah, I agree.
100%.
And sponsors.
Higher margins to
Yeah.
take.
Like, they haven't gone down to Curry's and bought a camera. They've probably gone to India and bought the finest one they can find. Do you know what I mean?
And it's also whether or not Levy wants to contribute to the pot. Anyway, right, we've got less than a minute left.
Of course he does.
Let's have a quick sum up then. So, Jonny, Morgan, Jose in or out?
Out.
Hey!
No,
Shake it all about.
in more season if he's not doing well. Out.
Do the hokey cokey and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
What about you, Jonny? In or out?
I'd give him time.
Perfect. Elliot?
Time.
Yeah, completely agree.
Perfect. And Mason Greenwood to Tottenham as well. Okay, perfect. Well, I'm gonna have to end it then because I don't want us to get cut out. So thanks all.
That's
Hope
cool.
you
That's all right. Thank you very much.
Make sure you stay safe.
Yeah,
Thanks.
of course.
Thanks,
See you
guys.
soon, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.